Good morning, humanity. Thank you so much for joining today. It looks like we are streaming. Let's get it going. There it is. That's a wonderful way to start the show. At least I was able to get to the dump button. Let's get it going. We are streaming. There's my sneeze. All right, we're going to make sure we are sharing this to the appropriate groups on Facebook. Join the live show. Okay, that is sent. There it is. That is working. Yeah, my cat came over and was like, "Hey, can I get some more pets?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love you, buddy, but fun fact about cats, I'm allergic to cats." But we appear to be streaming on Rumble, appear to be streaming on Facebook, so let's jump into the program. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of California, to be exact. My name's Brian Engelman. Today is Saturday, May the 10th, 2025. And this is the TNAM AM Show here on the New American Media. Today, we're going to discuss a little bit of sports. We're going to walk you through the hockey and basketball playoffs real quick. We're going to talk about a pro football quarterback announcement. Is this a surprise announcement? It's going to lead the way for another young rookie quarterback to maybe step in. And we're going to go through the news. Maybe we have a ceasefire with India, Pakistan. Maybe, well, all sorts of stuff going on. So let's just jump right to it today on the TNAM AM Show here on the New American Media. Thank you for being here. It's the weekend, so let's jump into it. Leave your hit like, hit subscribe, however you are watching. We're going to go into our Instagram feed, but follow the New American Media on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube. We're at the New American Media. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. These are all scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now. We are on X at American_media_. And please subscribe to our two podcasts. One is the Agree to Disagree Show. The other is the Unhappy Hour Sports Show on Spotify and Apple. And if anybody wants to throw something in our tip jar, our donation links are below here. You can pause it. We're on Patreon at the New American Media. We're on Venmo and Cash App at Brian Engelman, and PayPal at Fuzz Installments. Thank you so much for joining. Let's get into... let me refresh the Instagram feed, actually. Yeah, did you see what happened yesterday? What a bunch of weirdness. Find you someone that looks at you the way that a Democrat looks at an illegal alien invader. Oh, they love their illegal aliens. I think they love creating ballots and getting those ballots to count. I think that's what's going on. I think they see illegal alien invaders as future Democrat voters. Why else would they be flooding America with non-Americans? But it's a global situation. It's part of the Obama doctrine. And we know the Soros impact in the Obama-Biden administration. So nothing surprises me at this point. Let's show you this story. I guess let's click this. Who could have seen this coming? Benny Johnson reports multiple Democrat members of Congress. Well, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to call an audible on my own show. And I'm going to share this instead. I want to lead with sports. I just want to tell you what's going on before we get into the weird, interesting news. Let's just tell you where we are in sports. The banged up Cavaliers get tough and they top the Pacers in a now or never game 3, winning by 22 points over the Indiana Pacers. So now it's a 2-1 series. Indiana still has the lead. Game 4 will be tomorrow in Indianapolis. Now, Oklahoma City, the number 1 seed over in the West. Guess what? They're trailing 2-1 as well. Denver Nuggets beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 113-104. So let's show you a quick look at the playoff bracket here. Only 8 teams remain. Let me change the aspect ratio here. Only 8 teams remain. One of them will get a championship. And you look around, yeah, the Nuggets have championship pedigree. The Warriors do, but I mean, Curry's injured and they're not, I mean, they're a 7 seed. They're not like the vaunted Warriors of yesteryear. LeBron and Luka didn't make it out of the series against the Timberwolves. And the Celtics are trailing 2-0 against the Knicks. Timberwolves Warriors tied up 1-1. So, yeah, Timberwolves Warriors and Knicks Celtics both play today, 3:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. So this is my Cleveland Cavaliers hat. I was actually not worried yesterday for some reason. Well, the reason was they got DeAndre Hunter back. The Cavs got Darius Garland back, and they got Evan Mobley back, and that's a big freaking deal. That is a big freaking deal. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching today. Thank you so much for joining. If this is your first time, go ahead and drop a comment in the chat. Leave us your name and tell us where you're watching from. The where you're watching from part is important. I just, as a bartender, bartender pedigree, I like to remember what people drink, and I like to have conversations. Remember, oh yeah, you work at the, I like to know something about you. And at least just knowing where people are from, it helps me kind of geographically. We have a bunch of regulars that normally come in. And it's like, oh, Bella over there in the Cape. Oh, hey, Kenneth down in Florida. David up in Ontario. Actually, I haven't seen my dude in Iowa in a while. I wonder how he's doing. He was tuning in regular. But that's how it goes, We do about 6 shows a week, roughly. And we've been doing this for 14 years here at the New American Media with sports, the Unhappy Hour, and then current events on the TNAM AM Show underneath the Agree to Disagree Show umbrella. So say hello in the comments, please. Moving on in sports, let me just show you what's going on in the NHL playoff bracket. Ooh, hopefully that cat allergic reaction will dissipate soon. Maybe I'll have to go wash my hands after petting the guy. Play a video and wash my hands real quick. I love cats. I have a group on Facebook, TNAM Animal Rescue. TNAM Animal Rescue. And please join it. It's a private group on Facebook. All right, running through the NHL playoff bracket. Jets and Stars tied at 1. Edmonton leads Vegas 2-0. They play tonight. Maple Leafs up on the Panthers 2-1. They play tomorrow. And Capitals Hurricanes are tied at 1. They play today. Let's go ahead and look at Major League Baseball. It's an early season, but just kind of scrolling through in case you're not paying any attention to sports these days. And, let's face it, there's so much weirdness going on in the world. Sometimes it's the last thing in the world you would feel like doing is paying attention to sports. But on the other hand, it's like there's never been a better time to give yourself a break, to disconnect from the stupidity. Mike Polk Jr. famously yelled at the Cleveland Browns stadium when calling it a flat factory of sadness. He said, "Now look, I know there are more important things in this world than sports, and you are supposed to be my pleasant distraction from those things." So allow yourself a little bit of room for bread and circuses, okay? You don't have to be miserable all day long, people. Yankees lead the American East by 3 games on the Red Sox, 4 games on the Blue Jays, 5 games on the Rays. Baltimore is really upside down right now. The Detroit Tigers have a 2.5 game lead over the Cleveland Baseball Squadron and the Kansas City Royals. Mariners lead their division by 3 over the Astros and Athletics. I love that they show the Athletics, but it doesn't say Las Vegas. That's hilarious. You guys looking at this? Houston Astros, Seattle Mariners, Texas Rangers, Los Angeles Angels, and Athletics. It doesn't say Jokeland, and it doesn't say Vegas. How weird. How weird. It doesn't have anything listed for a city. Well, when you're in limbo. By the way, I am a Cleveland Guardians fan, a Cleveland Indians fan. I root for Cleveland baseball. I wish we could bring our chief back and bring our name back, because I've rooted for my Cleveland Indians my whole life, and they changed the name, and I'm supposed to never get a championship? Never? After having a chance in 95, 97, 07, 16, we have 0 championships, and then you just change the name, so I'll get 0 forever? That's not cool. Not cool, man. Yeah, Mariners up 3 games on the Astros and Athletics. In the National League East, the Mets lead their division by 2.5 over the Phillies. Central, the Cubs are leading by 2 games on the Cardinals, 3 games on the Brewers, 3.5 over the Reds. The Pirates just changed their head coach, or their manager, their skipper. And man, you got a tough division here. The National League West. Diamondbacks trail the Dodgers by 6. Giants trail by 2, and the Padres trail by 1. Yeah, tied for the most wins in baseball with 26 right now for the Dodgers. They're tied with the Tigers. So that's what's going on in your baseball. And that's about all I had to share about that. Let's go to the NFL, because I will tell you this much. Derek Carr, shoulder injury has forced QB Derek Carr to retire. He had a labral tear. Yeah, I tore my labrum. It's not the best. A degenerative rotator cuff damage to his right throwing shoulder, discovered in late March after Carr ramped up throwing to prepare for the season. Hadn't thrown much since he fractured his non-throwing hand during a game against the Giants in December. Surgery was an option that would have put 2025 in jeopardy, and Carr said, I'm just going to retire instead. Upon reflection of prayer and discussion with his wife Heather, I've decided to retire from the NFL. He's been a quarterback for 14 years in the league. He was one of my first draft picks. Him and Jameis Winston were the 2 quarterbacks I took, because they were like a year or 2 into the league when I started a dynasty league. And, their backups are retired now. So, yeah, 2014 second-round draft pick from the Raiders. That's going to open it up now for second-round pick Tyler Shuck of Louisville Cardinals. Louisville gets a chance now. Good luck to him. And good luck to Derek Carr as he moves along. Browns running back Nick Chubb is increasingly unlikely to re-sign with the team. I wish him the best, and I hope he comes back and crushes it this year. I was hoping that was going to be with the Browns, but it looks like it's not. Taylor Gabriel is getting the first round reps with the Cleveland Browns, breaking drills in the rookie mini camp. Dylan Gabriel, not Shedeur Sanders. But, it's an all-encompassing evaluation over the next few months. Like, come on, it's week 1. Don't overthink it. But it's going to be a very interesting quarterback battle to watch in Cleveland. I'm just pulling for a Super Bowl. I don't care. I want to catch lightning in a bottle. I don't care who our quarterback is. Let's just go. And the NFL and YouTube are close to a deal for a Brazil game. Brazil. Doesn't Brazil have a bunch of political problems? I believe so. So you got to be careful which country you're going to. All across Europe, you got to be careful now. Everything's a mess. All right, let's get back to the world of non-sports, and we'll just get into this here. This is multiple Democrat members of Congress breaking into a New Jersey ICE facility. The mayor of Newark has been thrown in handcuffs and taken away by DHS. Check this out.
Get off of her! Get off of her! You cannot push it! You cannot hold this! You can't push members of Congress! Get off of her!
Blah, blah, blah. You are fascist. How dare you have an immigration department?
Don't tell him you can't put a hand up there. You cannot. Fuck you. This is a shit show. What? And you better not touch her either.
You better not. Okay.
Get off of her. You cannot push it. You cannot hold this. You can't push members of Congress.
Anyway, find a lover who looks at you the way a Democrat looks at an illegal alien invader. Let's share this with you for a little bit more info. Share this tab instead. Democrat Raz Baraka. From Barack to Baraka. Mayor of Newark, New Jersey, arrested for trespassing after he and others broke into an ICE facility. Guy is trying to look like a martyr, but just ended his political career. No one is above the law.
Get off of her. You cannot push it.
Oh, is this the same video we just watched? There's another angle. Whatever.
Put your hands on me.
Okay, so is that him getting arrested, getting locked away?
You know that's wrong.
Yep, well done. Okay, there he is. And there he is. There he goes. Happy trails to you. Alina Habba said, oh yeah, because Alina Habba is working in New Jersey now. Committed trespass and ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security investigators to remove himself from the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey this afternoon. He has willingly chosen to disregard the law, and that will not stand in this state. He has been taken into custody. No one is above the law. Arrest the congresswoman in the red jacket. She assaulted one of the police officers. Oh, now she's out there declaring war on the United States. What? Insurrection. Please indict this mayor, the House reps too. They must be held up as examples. Okay. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. No one is above the law. Anyway, so that's happening. Oh no, this is... What is this?
You're not the one or the two. Let's go. You ain't got.
So we had an oh man. So we had an argument at a Frontier Airlines yesterday. Now we got Spirit. So here's this lady just knocked this lady down. What the heck?
Go suck another dirty dick. Don't play with me. Do not play with me. Do not play with me because I'm not the one or the two. You're not the one or the two. Let's go. You ain't got shit. You ain't gonna do nothing.
Name my ticket.
Speaking on me for nothing. Like I said, keep.
This lady's yelling, go suck another dirty D.
My fucking name out your mouth, bitch.
Your mouth, because mine is always in yours for some reason.
No, some reason.
It
Back
always
the fuck
is.
out of here. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here before I slap the shit out of
You're
you.
not going to smack.
Who is hiring these people? From the Frontier Airlines angry ladies to the Spirit Airlines angry ladies. Who's in charge of HR?
Shit, try me.
You think you're fucking tough? I'm not
Try me.
sure.
There is
Try me,
nothing
Tinky.
professional.
I mean, I'm drop kicked your ass. Fuck out of here, you dirty bitch.
I'm not dirty.
Yes, you are. Fuck out of here. You and your raggedy ass fucking bitch.
Jeez.
Fuck out of here. Go suck a dick. Like I said what I said. And I said what I said. Please step to me like you want it.
Go fly the friendly skies.
Go suck another dirty dick.
Is she unaware that she's being recorded? Like, how do you... I'm just...
I'm not the one of the two, bitch. You tried me 2 times. I want you to do it a third.
Yeah, you fired. Or who knows? Maybe people don't get fired anymore. Wow. I don't know. I just clicked. I'm like, why is Spirit Airlines trending? They bump into each other. And it's like
Go suck another dirty
motion
bitch. Don't play with me. Do not play with me. Do not play with me because I'm not the one nor the two.
I'm not the one or the two. Frontier Airlines, Spirit Airlines, Carnival Cruise Lines. What other company am I missing? What do all 3 of these companies have in common? What do they have in common? Same HR, customer service training, and customer retention services? Garbage. I don't know. Nisi is saying DEI must die, civility, common sense, Walt Disney. I don't know. Who knows? But that's a wild video. Wanted to share that with you. All right, let's get back to this. Just silliness. Anna Paulina Luna says, I just heard a gang member admit to murdering 50+ people. He was in Virginia illegally. If you are storming ICE facilities and advocating against deportation of violent terrorists, you are both heartless and dangerously ignorant. More to come on this. The scoop here. Now, I don't know if these numbers are right, but they're saying no one's watching the liberal lying media anymore. Peppermint Patty. MSNBC replaced Rachel Maddow with Jen Psaki because they were losing viewers. And on her debut on Tuesday night, they lost 53% more viewers. I don't know if these are confirmed stats, but I do know their product is terrible. Fake news is coming apart at the seams. They couldn't even spell the, so I'm not going to trust the numbers here. And it's going to be glorious to watch their demise. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Jen Psaki and MSNBC. Charlie Kirk says the left got its wish. Ed Martin won't be the U.S. attorney for Washington, D.C. Instead, he'll get a senior Department of Justice job heading the investigation into Biden-era weaponization of the Department of Justice against conservatives. Be careful what you wish for, libs. You just might get it. Let's also find out what Tom Tillis is up to. Super sketchy. So there you go. You wouldn't let him in that post. Now they're putting him somewhere else. This was a great story from yesterday. President Trump is redirecting funds that were previously used for housing illegal criminal aliens and moving that money over toward helping homeless veterans. Thank God. Trump will build a national center for homeless veterans with funds previously spent on housing for illegal alien invaders. Trump signs the executive order to establish a National Center for Warrior Independence, NCWI, on the Veterans Affairs campus in West Los Angeles. Whoa! Check that out. I was in Los Angeles on the steps of City Hall at a press conference, and I spoke about how that area in West Los Angeles was gifted to the veterans. And as long as you have veterans sleeping on the streets, you need to build some tiny home communities. Give these people some dignity, a place of their own, and then put like some communal showers and food facilities, a little cafeteria, make sandwiches, or let them grab some food. Come on. Put some tiny homes there. So I wonder if it's going to be the same facility over by the 405 up by the Getty Center. Good job. Yeah. No funds for illegal alien invaders. You use this for veterans. Thank you. Priorities from a real president. Very happy about that. Congratulations. That's big news. Danielle D'Souza Gill says, never forget that the FBI agent that investigated President Trump for Russian collusion was later sentenced to 4 years in prison for Russian collusion. Never forget. Here's Rep. Eli Crane, who does a fantastic job, calling out the USA fencing chairman. You saw that, where they wanted the ladies to fence a guy? And the lady's like, no, I'm not doing this. So now this is escalated to Congress because it's ridiculous that you're going to not let women have their own space. You have to invade it. Get out of the locker rooms. Get off of the competition field. Or the I don't know, it's not a field. What do you call it? Like probably a gymnasium or something. Stop trying to beat up women, dudes. Not cool. The sexes were split for a reason. A man cannot become a woman. And if you feel as though you're suffering from gender dysphoria, I'm telling you, you are loved as you are. People are making money off of Frankenstein surgeries. You can never become a man if you're a woman. You can never become a woman if you're a man. It's the chromosomes. If in sports, if your chromosomes include a Y in sports, you must compete with guys. But you really are loved. Just stay how you are. Please don't start chopping and slicing and chemicals and poison, and just please, just be who you are, love who you love, dress how you want to dress. It's just, dudes, you got to use the men's restrooms, even if you're in a dress, and you can't beat up on women in sports. This is not a lot to ask. This is not me being mean to anybody. This is approaching you with compassion and saying there's a bunch of demons out there that are trying to slice and dice to make a bunch of money off of you. Don't become a victim. Work on the gender dysphoria. You're built how you're built. You are who you are. You're loved. Don't ruin your ability to have procreation. Don't ruin your ability to procreate. Don't ruin your ability to have an orgasm for life. Please don't mess with your biology like that and your chemistry like that. You're loved. Okay? Just dudes, stay out of the sports with women. This is not a big ask. Here's Eli Crane talking to the USA fencing chairman.
Asking you, why have you not protected young girls like these two sitting right next to you?
Sir, I believe we have protected young women in fencing. It's one.
Okay, really, hold on a second. Let's ask the expert witnesses. Ms. Turner, have men like Mr. Layfield protected you?
No.
Are they protecting other young girls from biological men participating in sports?
No, he glorifies it.
Miss McNabb,
terrible.
Are men like Mr. Layfield protecting you and other young women participating in women's sports?
Absolutely not.
Do you feel safe?
No.
You shouldn't, because guess what? God created men and women differently, and I know that this town and many in this culture have a real problem with that, but it is a fact. Okay? It's just a fact, and you guys know it. You have permanent injuries for the rest of your life. Is that correct, Miss Nab?
That's correct, Congressman.
Awful.
Evil triumphs when good men and women do nothing. Not only have you done nothing to protect these young women, but you've actually sided with policies that are destructive to young women's sports. You said you have a daughter, Mr. Layfield?
I do, sir.
That's sad, man. That's sad that you wouldn't protect young girls from what's going on in this culture. And it's disgusting to listen to these posts that you yourself posted. I can't believe that you're still the chairman of this organization. I'm asking you, why have you not protected young girls like these two sitting right next to you?
Sir, I believe we have protected young women in fencing. It's one.
Okay, really, hold on a second. Let's ask the expert witnesses. Ms. Turner.
Protect women in sports. Also protect America in general by retiring and or indicting every last Democrat. We'll just leave it at that. Why are they hell-bent on doing this, and why do they lie about it constantly? One of the comments. He's probably hoping his daughter turns into a boy. You can't turn into something you're not. A bird cannot become a giraffe. You're just different. You cannot. It's not hateful. That's just reality, people. Protect the girls already, please. Protect the girls. This is a gentleman here says he's confronting a leftist school board about men and women's sports. Let's listen.
Well, I'll be honest with you because I'm a very forward guy.
Liberal school board candidate in my local Sherwood school district, just outside of Portland, named Callie Ross, knocked on her door and tried getting her vote. She agreed to sit down and do a short podcast to listen to my concerns, and I gave her props for that. However, she cannot have my vote. Here's a short clip.
I don't think you could have my vote. The only thing, I just can't be with you when my daughter is playing lacrosse, and if I were to see her get cheated out of her sport, like other girls are across Oregon, I can't vote for people that are going to be on that side of that issue. It's not fair to real women.
Personally, I do support trans children. I support the identity they choose, and I think
children can't choose stuff like that. And when you start pushing for removing children from homes and forcing chemicals into their body, or God forbid, chopping body parts off, hell no, line in the sand. No, you cannot support that happening to kids. Kids don't know what they're doing. They have to be protected from mothers with Munchausen. They have to be protected from people trying to, join a victim group. And if you can convince your kid or go along with this charade, well, then guess what? All these white liberals that just dream of having something they could claim perpetual victimhood over, ta-da, here's your chance. And you use your kid as a guinea pig. And they need to be protected from people that are encouraging it. If they're genuinely suffering from gender dysphoria, they should receive the help that they need.
I think that's a big part of what DEI means, and having representation.
DEI is bigoted, it's racist, it's sexist. DEI is illegal. It's omitting people because of who they are. It's a big part of DEI, which is why DEI is no longer around.
Representation in classrooms.
What about girls? What about girls that weren't born biological men? Girls, what about girls' sport? What about their rights? You talk about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. That is not inclusive to real biological girls. So what about them? What about girls that are getting, like, you had Leah Rose over at IDB Wells that won the high jump, and the rest of the girls that finished after lost out on that first place opportunity because he has an unfair advantage. I mean, what do you think about, what about girls?
I think actual biological girls, transgender girls, I think they're human, and I trust them. I trust them to do what they do.
So you think it's fair that, obviously,
I trust them, being boys, to compete against girls.
Men are built differently than women.
Bone structure, muscle mass, the density of the testosterone, strength, height, weight, like on every metric, the average of men is different, which is why you separate the girls. I'm not going to keep talking about why water is wet. This is ridiculous.
And you think that's fair that a biological man comes in with all these advantages and just smashes women's sports? I mean, you really think that's fair?
I think it's a state mandate. I support all children. And
support trans rights, not girls' rights.
I think I support girls' rights too. I think girls
their sports are being taken over. You have to understand there is a thing of fairness with a biologically born male that has male body parts like Aiden Gallagher in Portland. His quads are literally bigger than mine. He's more muscular than I am. You really think in your heart of hearts that it's fair that he goes into women's sports, biological women's sports, and just clears the field? I don't think that's right.
Right now, it's a state mandate, and I agree with the state mandate.
Yeah, protect women in sports, retire every Democrat. Gunther Eagleman says, I don't recall ever hearing about MAGA people keying cars, spitting in people's faces, or rioting when Democrats had control of the government. We are not the same. Now, the rebuttal to that is January 6th, January 6th. Uh-huh. We all saw what happened there. There was a mostly peaceful protest. And we still need to get to the bottom of what happened. Who opened the doors, what Pelosi was up to, what the plan was, how they rammed through 7 fraud states, swing states, that all magically paused their counting, with Trump up hundreds of thousands of votes on the path for a clear landslide re-election. Yeah. You brought that on yourself by trying to pass that off as legitimate. By the way, under duress, let me tell you, you can find countervailing views on health and elections at cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control, scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, however you are watching. But yeah, Democrats love just causing chaos. Here's Stephen Miller talking about the chaos with the Obama doctrine to flood all sovereign nations with non-residents, with non-citizens, to permanently alter and change their voting demographics forever in a colonialist endeavor. Stephen Miller is talking about what the White House is considering doing to remove the criminal, illegal, alien invaders, mostly military-aged men.
Hold on, this is a question.
And a bunch of children that have disappeared, air quote, disappeared.
Back there first.
I have just two quick questions. First, President Trump has talked about potentially suspending habeas corpus to take care of the illegal immigration problem. When could we see that happen, do you think?
Well, the Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. At the end of the day, Congress passed a body of law known as the Immigration and Nationality Act, which stripped Article 3 courts, that's the judicial branch, of jurisdiction over immigration cases. So Congress actually passed, it's called jurisdiction stripping legislation. It passed a number of laws that say that the Article 3 courts aren't even allowed to be involved in immigration cases. Many of you probably don't know this. I'll give you a good example. Are you familiar with the term temporary protected status, or TPS, right? So by statute, the courts are stripped of jurisdiction from overruling a presidential determination or a secretarial determination on TPS when the Secretary of Homeland Security makes that determination.
I need a TPS report.
So when Secretary Noem terminated TPS for the illegals that Biden flew into the country, when courts stepped in, they were violating explicit language that Congress had enacted, saying they have no jurisdiction. So it's not just the courts aren't just at war with the executive branch. The courts are at war, these radical rogue judges, with the legislative branch as well, too. So all of that will inform the choices the president ultimately makes, yes.
Mr. Miller,
hold on, there's a question back there first.
All right, so there you go, Stephen Miller. Real rock star in the Trump administration. We said it's time to defend America from the Obama doctrine of colonization of mostly military-aged men to invade sovereign nations from America to Europe. Remove and resist. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt talking about what Melania Trump has been up to. This sounds fantastic.
Finally, it was announced this morning that First Lady Melania Trump secured a $25 million investment in President Trump's budget to provide housing and support for youth transitioning out of foster care. And in recognition of the 7th anniversary of Mrs. Trump's Be Best initiative, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development allocated funds toward the agency Foster Youth to Independence program. Yesterday, Mrs. Trump hosted a special celebration of military mothers with the president, bringing together 150 military moms from around the country to recognize their service, not just in their home, but for our country. Finally, it was announced this morning that First Lady Melania Trump secured a
$25 million to provide housing support for kids coming out of foster care. All right, helping the kids move on with their lives. Bravo to you. James O'Keefe talking about Adam Schiff, John Brennan, the CIA, and the coup to overthrow the United States in 2016, and how Langley conspired with CIA Director Mike Pompeo to overthrow the sitting president of the United States. Declassification coming. Let's take a listen.
Defense Intelligence Agency, that's DIA head, and would-be Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Another target was staffer George Papadopoulos. In 2018, HPSCI, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, released a 243-page report clearing Trump of allegations that he and his team colluded with Russia to interfere with the 2016 election. However, sources close to the House Permanent Select Committee, led by Adam Schiff, covertly continued working out of a small room in Langley, and he had access to raw logs and communications from agencies like the CIA and the National Security Council. Defense Intelligence Agency, that's DIA head, and would-be Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. Another target was staffer George Papadopoulos. In 2018, HPSCI, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, released a 243-page report clearing Trump of allegations that he and his team colluded with Russia to interfere with the 2016 election. However, sources close to the House Permanent Select Committee, led by Adam Schiff, covertly continued working out of a small room in Langley, and he had access to raw logs and communications from agencies like the CIA and the National Security Council. Defense Intelligence.
There you go. So declassify it all. Time to indict the traitors. Lord willing.
For more, I'm Giant.
President Trump has selected veteran prosecutor Judge Jeanine Pirro as interim U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C.
Joined by Adam Weiss, the host of Media Exposed here on Real America's Voice. Welcome to the show, Adam. What say you about the president's choice here, Judge Jeanine for D.C. Attorney?
You know, I think she's a strong pick, but what the media usually does is Fox News host, just like they did with Casey Means.
And they did it with Pete Hegseth.
MAGA influencer, they called her. Not saying she's a doctor. But, you know, if anything sums up, we talk about the media a lot. We have a show on media. I'll go back to 2018. We get a request. Liars, Leakers, a liberal. She had a book come out. We're doing the book tour together. I worked with her a long time. We're in The View. The first segment goes nice. Next block, Whoopi screaming at her, accusing her of Trump this, racist this, racist. She says, I'm not working with Trump. I'm here to promote my book. They start screaming at her. A screaming match happens. She goes in the back. Whoopi says to her, get the F out of here.
Whoa.
He turns around to me and says, what do we do? We said, get the stuff upstairs in the green room. And we got out of there. We got in the car. That sums up really Trump derangement session what the media has in one big segment at The View. And that's what they've been ever since. She said, what should we do? We called up a newspaper. We met him right there. And then right away it went to #1 New York Times because we put that story out there, the way we were treated. And, you know, the media's been, has Trump derangement ever since. She's a good pick. She's been a county court judge. She's been a district attorney 3 times in Westchester. She's really great on her feet. And, you know, and Trump loves the Fox News personalities. We all know that.
Yeah, I was going to say Judge Jeanine for this pick, picking Pete Hegseth as well. He definitely gives them a whole lot of credit that he wants to bring them into, you know, to his administration and into political positions there. Adam, thank you so much for joining American Sunrise.
All right, there you go. Judge Jeanine taking on a bigger role.
Congressman
Here's Byron Donalds talking about what's going on with elected Democrat officials in New Jersey and illegal aliens first and all of it.
Donalds, I was looking at these Delaney Hall detainees, the illegal immigrant ones. DHS put out a list of some of the things they're accused of. It's not good. Deadly weapon with intent to kill, interfering with the custody of a child, possession of controlled substance, active gang affiliations. So these are the people Democrats are going to storm a facility on behalf of? Boy, have they lost the plot, Congressman.
You're absolutely right. They've completely lost the plot. They don't remember why they lost this election. It was primarily because of illegal immigration, a lot of criminal aliens in our country who were victimizing Americans. And instead of standing with the American people and President Trump to make sure we have an orderly process to remove criminal illegal aliens, what are they doing? Waiting for the gate to open to run through the gate? I mean, that's just crazy to me. And I'm not saying it's just because of what happened today. When Joe Biden was bringing in tens of million people into the United States, I went and toured one of the facilities down at Fort Bliss. I waited at the gate, showed my congressional ID. I had to wait a couple hours. They finally let me in to tour that facility because I wanted to see what Joe Biden and that administration was doing at that time. So for them to just storm the gates, much more about a political stunt. We cannot have people impeding the operations of Homeland Security and ICE when they're trying to undertake the mission given to President Trump by the American people.
Congressman Donalds, I was looking at these Delaney Hall detainees, the illegal.
Anyway, so it's wacky. Break free from the Democrat Party. Hello, Larry. We got some people in chat. Larry checking in. Larry, okay, so you got the Reds on your logo. You're an Ohio resident. He lives in Ohio, Central Ohio, right, Larry? Somewhere near Springfield, if I recall. Robin McBride. Why can't I remember where Robin McBride lives? You're either Florida or Portland or somewhere else. Robin. Hello, Brian. Thanks so much for, I know, so much for taking today off. I did say that yesterday. Well, I sort of had something planned and I did not do that thing. But yeah, I just figured I'd check in and unpack the news. I'll scroll through what's going on. Yeah. Found you by accident since today was supposed to be a down day for you. Whew. Sorry to hear of the D. What are you hearing? Sorry to hear of the D. Now I could make 10 jokes there, but I'm not going to. Anyway. Thanks for joining. Appreciate all of you being here. Hit like, hit subscribe, however you're all participating. Let's jump back to it. This is a flashback. Remember that one time when celebrities tried to tell people about the Clinton Whitewater scandal? I do remember this. This whole thing is unpacking Whitewater. This is a funny skit. I can't play it all, but you should watch it. It's like a We Are the World, but it's like We Are the White House. Rockers to help explain Whitewater. There it is. Check that out. This is Mario Nawfal reporting the Canadian business owner drops a bombshell saying the government pays him to hire migrants over locals. People, defend your nation. Robin, I was right. It is Jacksonville. And you hike up into Georgia, right? I'm remembering this correctly. And Larry, once again, you're near Central Ohio, right? Somewhere near Springfield, I think. You're a Reds fan, but you don't live in Cincinnati, I believe. So anyway, yes, people, defend your nations. Your nations are being overthrown. Stop it. Don't hire people that are not residents. Don't allow your nation to be taken over by non-citizens. Stop it. Wherever you are, you should have your nation. Everyone's allowed to have their nation. All right? Resist what's happening. I hire you. You're from India. And basically what happens is I pay $20 an hour. The government every 3 months gives me a 30% kickback. That's an extra $6. So it's like you're paying $14 an hour. So what do people do? They will hire those people because their family is going to get rewarded as a result. Vote these people out that are not prioritizing your nation. Brian Cates says this is going to lead somewhere. Rod D. Martin put out massive voter fraud bust in Texas. We covered some Texas stuff, some Colorado stuff. We're seeing all sorts of voter fraud indictments occurring. You know the thing that never happens? Well, it happened again. 6 officials arrested, including judges and council members. There's a thread to check out. And Brian Cates says, think act blue. You think NGOs are paying staff to fill out bogus voter registration forms and to request ballots by mail for those fake voters and then fill out the ballots and mail them back? Nobody does this shit for free, you know. Please, can we unpack what's going on so that another election can never be stolen again? President Trump discusses who is the most powerful woman in the world.
Susie, the most powerful woman in the world. I agree with that. I agree.
I'll be brief. Some
Susie Wiles, his what is it? His chief of staff? Is that her title? Look at that look. She's shooting President Trump. Laura Loomer says, I guess it was hard for one of Trump's geniuses to find a doctor who actually supported him, who has an active medical license. Donald Trump only hires the best people. So Susie Wiles, Bridget in Florida says soon Susie Wiles will have all but destroyed everything Trump ran on and the legacy he's trying so hard to leave. For example, he won Gen Z because they loved his quick thinking and badassness during the campaign, and they're less than impressed with his term. They're not impressed with his picks, clearly coming from Susie Wiles, that seem to be against everything he ran on. So I don't know. There's complaints about Susie Wiles. I don't know that I have an opinion on it yet. Michael Wilbon with a great take here on the Pope and What's going on? Pope being from Chicago. Of course, I do sports shows, so we'll take a listen here.
I called 100 people just to say, we want, in Chicago, we're so obsessed. We want to know everything about the Pope. Is he going to bless the Bears? And I had one of
Forget the Bears.
Is he going to bless the Bears? Forget the Bears. How about the Bulls?
Bulls on Monday in the lottery.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The Bulls on Monday, Cooper Flag. That's where you're
I'll
first.
take that.
By the way, our friend Annie Agar.
Take that, Wendy.
Our friend.
I called 100.
Yeah. So we'll see if Chicago gets the blessing from the Pope and if they end up getting the #1 pick. This guy here might do the best Joe Biden impersonation of anybody. I've seen him before. Watch this. This is incredible. Let's go side by side. Here we go. Kenneth is here too. Hey! Happy Inception Day. Thank you so much. NG, hey, hey, ho, ho. NGOs, they've got to go. Don't you know? All right, so check out this Biden impersonation. This, I'm assuming this is his daughter walks up and says, all right, here, do this. And he does it. Check it out.
Hey, Dad, do an impression of Joe Biden explaining the plot to Star Wars.
So there's a galaxy parked on the side of the a long time ago, back when I was working full time at anyway, I was the head of the embassy. It doesn't matter. Far away, there was galaxy and there were robots. And the robots, they were not the droids you were looking for.
Hey, Dad.
That's a great Joe Biden impression. I absolutely love it. This guy has a question for Letitia James at a what is this? At some event.
Question is for Tush James. Will you apologize to President Trump for wasting millions of dollars and the state of New York for a witch trial? And how does it feel to know that you will be in prison for mortgage fraud?
Thank you for coming.
Watch your body language. Tim says her body language says that she knows she is cooked.
We want to thank him for coming. We respect all opinions.
No, you don't. You don't respect any MAGA member.
Everybody knows those allegations are baseless.
No, they're not baseless. They seem to be pretty obvious. What you did to President Trump was baseless.
They're discredited, and so we want to thank him. Our next speaker.
Discredited. Yeah, by who? By your team? Courts are going to decide. Letitia James, what goes around comes around.
The DOJ is opening a formal criminal probe into New York Attorney General Letitia James over suspected mortgage fraud. Andrew Cherkasky is a former federal prosecutor and joins us now. And Andrew, James is saying basically that the law is on her side. Listen here.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together.
No, we're not in this
The rule of law is
together.
on our side.
But a grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia disagrees. Andrew, how much trouble is she in?
Well, I think she's taking a play out of Donald Trump's playbook. You just deny everything and claim that it's some sort of conspiracy. The problem for Letitia James is this is no conspiracy at all. The evidence is pointing straight at her.
And it's evidence. What she tried to do with Trump was just theoretical, hypothetical, conjecture, hearsay. It was goofy. It didn't make sense when she was pushing it.
For making false statements, for getting mortgages and engaging in home buying processes that seem to have been a clear violation of the law. Now, that has to be deeply investigated. Steps that are need to be taken to ensure that responsible law enforcement tactics are done here, and that it's not targeted at her because of her position, but rather because of the facts that support it. So I think she's in big trouble, and I think that the people of New York need to to not be paying for that.
Unpack, if you will, so our viewers understand exactly what it is that she did wrong.
Anyway, you can watch the deep dive into it, but she took out mortgages, lied on the details, which is just something you're not supposed to be doing, of course. Do the deep dive if you want. Here's Letitia James bragging about what she was doing. You know, find me the man and I'll find you the crime. She campaigned trying to just create lawfare to take out a political opponent. It's treasonous. Play. Hold on.
Will you sue him for us? Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass. I will never be afraid to
please sue him for us. Oh, yeah.
Challenge this illegitimate president.
An illegitimate president? She's engaged in denierism and denierism.
We need to focus on Donald Trump. We need to follow his money. What is fueling my soul right now is Trump. This illegitimate president. I look forward.
Wow, it's like she's trying to rile up an insurrection to stage a coup, calling the legitimate president illegitimate. Huh. Seems like a bold strategy.
To going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, and then going home. Will you see?
There you go. Yeah, so Fisher King put this out. The Atlantic it's a rag, you know that, but now they're trying to coin a phrase called the woke right. Fisher King says this isn't just about defaming people on the right, it's about making the term woke entirely useless so it isn't associated with crazy people who pushed hormone blockers on kids or burned down cities via BLM. If anyone is woke, no one is woke. Think about the implications with Pat Buchanan. If he is woke, then 60 to 80% of the Trump administration is woke, and the core base of the GOP is also woke. This is obviously absurd. Jack Posobiec says there's clearly coordinated subversion effort by the so-called centrists and the left to astroturf the nonsensical phrase woke right into the lexicon. And now the Atlantic, the mouthpiece of the globalists, are platforming it. We can all see what's going on here. So there you have it. Earlier today, there was an earthquake in the southeast United States. It's looking like outside of Knoxville, perhaps. We shared earlier, Derek Carr is retiring after 11 seasons as a quarterback. And here's a visual interpretation of Tyler Shook, the second-round draft pick, being called into action real quick to become the new quarterback with the New Orleans Saints. This is a nice pass. This is fun footage. I mean, it's right at the camera. I love it. Caught at the last second. That's pretty cool. President Trump was pushing for a ceasefire. Indian armed forces, Pakistan armed forces. They've been going at it. Where was Trump ceasefire? President Trump put out yesterday, after a long night of talks mediated by the United States, I'm pleased to announce that India and Pakistan have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire. Congratulations to both countries on using common sense and great intelligence. Thank you for your attention on this matter. Mags says, I still can't believe the Democrats and lying legacy media are upset that President Trump intervened and forced a ceasefire. That's it. I truly believe the left wants a nuclear war just to punish Trump. They are unhinged. Trump is trying to call for peace, and there are people that are just pushing for chaos. Well, Bibi is trending. What does this say? In the past 2 days, we've had Trump no longer talking to Benjamin Netanyahu, according to sources. But by the way, sources could be totally full of it. You never know. So sources, take it for what it is. Allegedly, Trump is feeling manipulated and tricked over Iran. Americans have dropped the condition of normalization of ties with Israel with the Saudis in order to have cooperation on civilian nuclear stuff. Hegseth announced that he's canceling his Israel trip. Mike Huckabee, of all people, an ambassador to Israel, saying in public that the U.S. doesn't need Israeli permission to make a deal with the Houthis. J.D. Vance saying we think there is a deal here that would integrate Iran into the global economy in a Munich leaders meeting panel. George Friedman publishing a New York Times op-ed saying this Israeli government is not our ally. Sounds like a divorce is underway, or we're proving one hell of a point here. President Trump no longer demanding Saudi Arabia recognize Israel for a nuclear deal with the United States. So keep your eyes peeled on Israel. Keep them peeled. Shared this, shared that. Tom Tillis, Chicago One Ray says, letter to Tom Tillis and Bill Cassidy. I will do everything I can to support any candidate that runs against you two traitors. I will directly donate to their campaigns. I appreciate the fact that Trump doesn't kiss your effing asses for your votes, because that's what you dirtbags covet. Time to drain the swamp out of the Republican Party, and it starts by showing these two dirtbags the door. Tom Tillis, Bill Cassidy. Glenn Greenwald unearthing video of Bill Cassidy discussing his detailed power sharing agreement with RFK Jr., strongly suggesting Cassidy is the handler who's been Cassidy being the handler that Shanahan has referred to. There's a 3.5-minute video here for you to check out. Maha in disarray. So yeah, Susie Wiles, RFK Jr., Shanahan. There's a lot of backbiting and infighting right now, trying to figure out how to make America healthy again. We have to have the chat, which is good. We'll see how it shakes out. President Trump here talking about let's just hear what President Trump has to say here.
But he's a terrific person. And
this is about Ed Martin for U.S. Attorney of D.C., Tom Tillis, Bill Cassidy, Lisa Murkowski, and Susan Collins blocking this. Tom Tillis and others don't want to represent their constituents. They're representing the D.C. swamp and their own personal disdain for the president, says Patriot Lady. The insiders around D.C. say Tillis blocking Martin getting voted out of the committee is about three things. One, Tillis is triggered by the big lie called January 6th. By the way, go to CISA.gov/rumor control for countervailing views, because they're going to tell you that was totally an insurrection with no shots fired. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're going to push that narrative forever. And if you disagree with that, we'll be taken off of social media forever. Number two, the wholesale rejection by D.C. courts of the Supreme Court 1512 ruling. And number three, the GOP senators know that Ed can come after them for their complicity in the 2020 coup, the 2020 election, the 2020 sham. CISA.gov/rumor control will tell you 2020 was the only free and fair election in the history of elections. Any other dispute is just conjecture, hearsay, just ludicrous. Wink, wink. Ed Martin was the man to clean up the D.C. swamp, but one rhino stopped President Trump once again. Leader John Thune is being tagged on this. Tom Tillis, Bill Cassidy, Murkowski, and Collins. Dr. Jane Ruby says this is proof Bill Cassidy is a war criminal and a prostitute. This is what the pharmaceutical industry looks like when it speaks. And she's claiming Bobby Kennedy sold his soul to be HHS secretary, but Cassidy is one of the devils who bought it. This is congressional corruption, violation of constitutional separation of powers, and an all-out attack on the American people. This was a dirty deal made on both sides between a congressional cockroach and a thirsty loser. That was awesome. I had a sneeze so fantastic. I think I cracked 3 vertebrae in my back. I heard crack, crack, crack. I was like, ooh, that's different. All right. Let's see. Robin is saying, scrolling through some comments here, it's coming out that the new pope is a bad dude and the stories of his involvement in harming children is pouring out. I hear he'll meet with an untimely demise by the end of the month. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Rubio and Vance sealed the deal between India and Pakistan. Good job, guys. Well, you know, it's like stopping any war. You go, yeah, well, stopping a war is good, but like if you still have bad guys attacking you, like you need to finish them off. But then if you finish them off, you're blasted for finishing them off. So like there's no winning. There's no good time to negotiate a ceasefire. There's no good time. And anytime someone is attacked, someone will say, destroy the attackers. And then a second person will go, no, they attacked themselves. That was a false flag. Go after the people who got attacked because they're the ones that did it to themselves. And you're like, it doesn't matter who it is. If you're talking Israel, if you're talking Hamas, if you're talking Russia, Ukraine, deep state, if you're talking Pakistan, India, it's the same type of conversation. Anyway, Data Republican is saying Congress doesn't stop it because Congress is deeply complicit. Senators and representatives allocate taxpayer dollars to U.S. aid, but that's only the start. The International Republican Institute, IRI, and National Democratic Institute, NDI, are both recipients of U.S. aid funding. So it's Ouroboros. It's a snake eating its own tail. It's an infinity loop. It's a cycle. They're funding themselves and they're never going to stop funding themselves. The two parties are just out of control, honestly. And it's probably time that the parties are disbanded. At least the Democrat Party. I'll tell you that for doggone sure.
She's the last.
Let me just show you a couple more things on our Instagram feed and we'll wrap up today's special show. Here's Joanne Warwick, who's been accused of aiding a former Democrat, John Conyers, about a home she owns in Detroit that no one lives in with 4 registered voters. And how old is a person there?
Last one. We got to. She's going to attest that she have owned the house. Has been abandoned for years, and she have voters registered there. She don't know who they is. Some of them became registered there actually after she got the house and after they was deceased. So.
Thank you. Is it Miss Warren? Warwick. W-A-R-W-I-C-K. Warwick. Okay. Yes. Thank you for being here. Please begin when you are ready.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Just to give you a little bit of background, I used to work for Congressman John Conyers in Detroit and Washington, D.C. He was very concerned about voting rights. I was also in Washington, D.C. in 2000 for the Hanging Chads. Does everyone remember that? Well, back then, the Democrats were against electronic voting machines and widespread absentee balloting for some obvious reasons. Now, I have a lot more that I could say about the elections, about Janice Winfrey not hiring people, not giving people reasons for not hiring them, not wanting me to work the electronic poll book, even though I speak French, Spanish, and I joke sometimes English. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is that after Ramon showed me this evidence, I was devastated. At this year in my life, I realized I live in a banana republic. And so I said, well, hey, because I own another house in Detroit. I bought this other house after I kept getting broken into where I live. Anyway, there's a lot of stories. Anyway, I asked Ramon, I said, hey, check to see if there's anybody registered to vote at my house. And there were, 4?
Yeah.
Now, one name I recognized. The other, I don't know. The one gentleman, if he were alive, he'd be about 110. And so Ramon kept saying to me, don't ignore the fake registrations because that's the way they can inflate the number of potential voters so that they can say we had about a 50% turnout rate, etc.
Joanne Warwick, she's the last one. We got to. She's going to attest that.
So there's a lot of accusations about a lot of voter fraud being exposed, and it's about damn time. Let me just scroll through here. There was a couple of stories at the end I just wanted to show you. Why didn't it show you them? Hang on. Do I have to hit refresh? All right, yeah, these are the last ones. Nick Sortor is reporting that a key Diddy witness, victim number 3, has gone missing, per the Daily Mail. Did you hear this one? Not good. Per Daily Mail. Opening statements are set to begin next week, and federal prosecutors have been scrambling to get a hold of her. She was set to deliver a very personal and explosive details concerning abuse she allegedly suffered under Sean Diddy Combs, prosecutors said. The Trump DOJ must keep a close eye on this case, or victims will end up like Virginia Giuffre in the Epstein case. and wokeness put this out. Data is the enemy of the narrative. In this, the Obama doctrine has been pushing a very warped version of reality on people, drumming up really disgusting, painful racial narratives that just aren't accurate. You can look at either Bubba Wallace or Juicy Smollett or LeBron James or, probably Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick didn't get his extension because he was no longer an effective, fantastic quarterback. It had nothing to do with what he claimed it was about, and then doing all the grandstanding during the national anthem to make it about him and to start pushing all sorts of racial division. We really don't despise people like Barack Obama enough. People like Colin Kaepernick enough. Nike enough. ESPN, ABC, Disney enough. The people who have been pushing these hoaxes are just atrocious. There is so much pain being caused by manipulated narratives that just don't match data points. Talking about interracial violent crimes, including per capita of offending race. Bureau of Justice Statistics, National Crime Victimization Study. What are they showing? 2018? Is this the latest one? End Wokeness put this out. What are we seeing? Is this a percent multiple of? It's 42 times higher percentage that there's black on white crime. 42 times higher. What is this? 30 incidents per 100,000 offender population. White on black is the smallest here. There's black on Hispanic, white on Hispanic, Hispanic on black, Hispanic on white, black on white. 42 times higher. It's coming to a tipping point. The data narratives don't match the fake reality that Barack Obama has been pushing toward everybody for so long. And I think it's kind of reached a tipping point. I don't think it's going to carry on, thankfully. And we got to get all of these numbers down. Come on, we're neighbors. Let's get along. Representative Scott Perry here is saying a Pennsylvania man is facing 90 years in prison for submitting phony applications on Medicaid and SNAP benefits, inventing entire families and using fake birth certificates and stolen Social Security numbers in $1 million benefits scam. The longer Medicaid fraud continues, the sooner we'll no longer be able to help sustain it for those who truly need the help. James Sessoms guilty in $1 million SNAP Medicaid scams. A Pennsylvania man admitted to fabricating fake families on Tuesday, the April 29th. Let's go after that waste, fraud, and abuse. All right. Let's also go after your dreams this weekend. Enjoy yourself. I know I will. And I'll be back on Monday for another program. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Robin, in Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you, David. And we'll be back. Scrolling at the bottom are all the donation links, as I've mentioned before, Patreon and Cash App, what was it? Venmo, Brian Engelman, and what's the other one? Sorry, I'm looking at a different screen. And PayPal at Fuzz Installment, if anyone wants to throw something in the tip jar. And follow the New American Media in these places: Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube. Telegram and Signal, we're at TNAM and TNAM Chat. On X at American_Media_. And our two podcasts, the Agree to Disagree Show and the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, on Spotify and Apple. Signing out for now in the TNAM AM universe. Hopefully next time I talk to you on Monday, the Cavaliers will be tied 2-2 with all the momentum swinging back to Cleveland. Let's hope. I'm really looking for my first championship minus LeBron James. So I will sign out for now and see you on Monday. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.